What up, folks? This is Pop Culture. I'm Alex Pop, and I have a dream. A dream that I want to share with you. For a while now, I've been wanting to do a video narrating the craziest dream I've ever had. With my channel being cinema-themed, I thought, if I'm going to do it at all, I should probably find a way to have it coincide with a highly anticipated movie. And so with First Man just about to come out, I thought, if I'm going to do it, now's the time. Yes, it has to do with my trip to the moon. But if you thought George Malay's trip to the moon was nuts, you have not seen anything like what I have seen. This is a dream I had about 6 years ago now, and it is a once-in-a-lifetime dream. A dream that is so perfectly insane, so impeccably bonkers, that I cannot keep it to myself. The world has to know. And I swear, I was not on anything when I had this dream. I had this dream completely sober, never awake. Could I have ever come up with any of the insane ideas that my subconscious pulled out of its butt? Joseph would have had a field day deciphering the meaning of my dream. Now, you know how the further you are into a dream, the more likely you are to remember that point in the dream. Heck, you can never even remember how a dream starts. And so, needless to say, I will begin where my memory begins. So, here it goes. So I'm getting ready to blast off into space to the moon, and my method of transportation is this large cylindrical device. Think of it as like the Hubble Space Telescope, except with one seat on the side of it. Just one single seat, facing upward, strapped to the side, completely exposed. And so as I'm getting ready to blast off into space, for whatever reason, I decide I want to take a soccer ball with me. I have no idea why, since I played soccer ball for years when I was a kid, but I was never good at it. I never once scored a goal in all those years. But nevertheless, I decided I want to take a soccer ball with me. So, I get a soccer ball, and I get ready to load it onto the cargo hold on my telescope spaceship. But as I'm getting ready to load it on, I accidentally drop it, and it bounces and rolls all the way into town. I live 5 miles outside of town. This was before I started driving, and it was apparently so vital that I take that soccer ball along with me that I had to walk all the way into town to retrieve it. For what seemed like a few hours, I walked all the way into town, and I found the soccer ball lying in front of the local grocery store. So I walk all the way back with it, and I just load it on, like nothing ever happened. And then I'm ready for takeoff. I get into that single seat on the side of my telescope spaceship, and I lift off from my backyard. And as I was going upwards, I could feel the shaking of it. It was so much fun. I really felt like I was there. And as a matter of fact, as this was happening, I started to acknowledge that I was dreaming. And you know how when that happens, you start to slowly wake up? You might even see like a mix of the dream and your bedroom. It was like that now. But I thought, no. This is too much fun. I do not want to wake up. And so I just focused really intently on the dream. And thank God I did not wake up, because I would not be able to tell of what comes next. In fact, by the time I had reached space, I'd completely forgotten that I was dreaming again. So I make it into space, and I find that I've blasted too high. Like, I see the Earth below me, and below me on my right is the moon. And below me on my left is a swing set. Yeah, there's a swing set down there. What?
Fly me to the moon and let me sleep among the stars. Let me see what life is like on Jupiter or Mars.
I did not plan for that to happen. Thank you, Dad, for that input. So yeah, there's a swing set down there, and it's just floating around, I guess, orbiting the Earth. But what good is a swing set in space anyway? You try swinging on that thing, you just float like you normally float up there. So yeah, there's a swing set down there, and I noticed it, but I didn't think much of it. I just kind of accepted that I had entered the world of an Owl City song. So like I said, I blasted higher than the Earth and the moon, but the thing is, I've run out of fuel. So the moon's all the way down there, so what am I to do? I just start budging my way down to the moon. So finally I make it down there, and I'm just floating right there next to the moon. And by the way, the moon is not very big. It's only like 20 feet in diameter, 25 tops. And so as I've made it to the moon, I know I need to make my mark in it, just as Neil and Buzz left their American flag in the moon. So maybe now would be a good time to take advantage of the soccer ball, maybe drop it in a crater or something, but no, the soccer ball never comes back. It's basically a subplot in the room. Actually, if it was a subplot in the room, it'd be a football, but you get the idea. So what am I going to do instead? I get a hold of my telescope spaceship, and I start shoving it into the moon. So I get it all the way in there, only like the thrusters are exposed. And I realized I had done it. I just made my mark in the moon. I'm so enthusiastic that as I'm floating there next to the moon, I stretch out my arms and legs in a celebratory, yeah! But the thing is, as I was doing that, my foot goes a bit too far. So as I'm letting out that yeah, I kick the moon away. Yes, I kick the moon away. As I'm doing that next to the moon, I kick the moon, and it just shoots off like a bullet into the black unknown. Yeah! I just lost the moon. What am I to do? Well, fortunately, a famous cartoon character shows up, and he has a solution. You want to take a guess who it is? It's Petrie, from The Land Before Time. Yeah, he's definitely the right character to go to when needing advice on what to do when losing the moon. So Petrie just flies over with a crayon, and he draws a new moon. He just draws this little two-dimensional moon, no bigger than he is, and not even on anything. He just draws it in space. So I told Petrie it was nice, but I knew it wouldn't do. We had to get the real one back. So it just so happens, with me right at that moment, I have a laser gun and a jetpack. And so with the laser gun, I shoot out toward where the moon went. So I blow a hole in the edge of space, even though there was no mark left there by the moon when it shot off. And so in the break, in the edge of space, I look through, and I see just more black and more stars on the other side. So I shoot again. I blow through another layer of space. Again, more black and more stars on the other side. So I shoot again. And as I'm doing that, I actually have a close-up view of every layer of space that I shoot through, even though I'm physically way the heck over there. And so finally, I bust through the last layer of space, and I'm ready to take off. And it just so happens right at that moment, another cartoon character happens to show up, and I know you can guess who. Nope. Nah. Try again. Oh, come on, this shouldn't be that difficult. Really think about it. Who's the first cartoon character that comes to your mind when someone blasts off to the moon, accidentally kicks it away, and is shot through multi-layers of space in order to go find it? Buford from Phineas and Ferb, duh! So Petrie and Buford grab my shoulders, and I turn on the jetpack, and we shoot forward. And we travel through all those layers of space, and there are all these surrounding lights with us. It was a lot like the portal from 2001: A Space Odyssey, which is really weird because at this point in time, I hadn't even seen the movie 2001. So when we make it through all those layers of space, we find ourselves in the foyer of the IMAX theater at the Pacific Science Center. Sure, why not? I mean, Matthew McConaughey traveled so far into space that he wound up behind a bookshelf in his daughter's bedroom. So we take a look around, and I find it in the corner, a lot smaller than it was. It's only like the size of a baseball now. So I pick it up, and we just fly on back. And when we get back to the moon's rightful place in the sky, it just so happens there's a fishing line hanging there, and I hang it on the fishing line like an ornament. Where the fishing line is hanging from, I don't know, but it just occurred to me after I'd woken up that the purpose of the fishing line was so that if I were to kick the moon again, it would just swing back around, smack me in the rear end, and send me flying off. Just a theory. So at this point, Petrie and Buford have left just as suddenly as they had shown up, and so I make my way home by using lunar gravity to slingshot myself back to Earth. And so I just got into stick position, and I just shot myself back to Earth. And as I started entering the atmosphere, I woke up. And as I had woken up in my bed, everything I had just seen was sinking in, and I just exploded with laughter. I must have gone on for like 5 minutes just cackling like a hyena. But the thing is, I had woken up at about 6 a.m., so the rest of my family is still asleep. So my mom was rather unpleasantly awakened. So I just kept on shouting with laughter until my mom barged into my room demanding to know what was so funny. And she had to admit, I had a pretty good excuse for waking her up. And this I must say about the dream, it's actually one of the few dreams I've ever had that has had a happy ending. Usually when I have a goal in my dream, my alarm goes off before I can achieve it. So that is the craziest dream I've ever had. A dream that I am never going to forget. Even when I'm old and I have Alzheimer's and I forget other things, this dream is always going to stay with me. So I want to hear from you guys. Do you have some really insane dream that you want to share? If so, leave it in the comments. I'm actually really curious about this. In fact, I'm thinking maybe I'll try to start a trend. Hashtag thank God for bogus dreams. So I should probably close out by giving my official statement on my trip to the moon. That's one small step for man, one giant kick for a guy who is terrible at soccer.